The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on.
He missed the pit completely. He's crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Floating high above the land of the rising sun, looking down at Twin Ring Motegi, which today plays host to the iRacing Driver Association's GT3 series. On tap is a day-night doubleheader officially called the Night Sprint format, and all the Round 8 action from daytime pace lap to nighttime fireworks will be brought to you live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. This quarter-hour streamy award-worthy pre-race show will count us down to the rolling start when a field of Mercedes, BMWs, Audis, McLarens, and Fords accelerate towards the first turn right-hander that will start the clock on the first of two 30-minute sprint races. So, bring cyberspace into your place, fill up a bowl with flavored rice crackers, pour yourself an icy glass of melon cream soda, put your feet up in the recliner, and enjoy the doubleheader simulated sports car excitement that will be streaming your way. Konnichiwa, everyone, and welcome to another GSRC broadcast. I'm your host, Bill Soupzon. Braving the ethereal realm of sleep deprivation is my partner, Adam Young. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is the hardest working man in sim race broadcasting, Joe Peak. And at his disposal will be the camera locations provided by the Ansel Adams of iRacing, Dougie Beard. This broadcast is made possible thanks to the good folks at The Screwed Gamers, Kart Action Media, and Zanardi Course Australia. And to keep things interesting, 500 Australian dollars are in the prize pool. Now, if you were with us last time for round 7, you saw 24 drivers take the grid at familiar Phillip Island. Only a few yards past the starting line, David Jelling's idea to make it 3 wide proved to be ill-conceived, as his aggression sent himself, Jackson Freer, Justin Strickland, and Warren Pickering veering off into the Armco. Before the replay could unspool, TJ Brown and Nathan Waddell spun in front of oncoming traffic. Everyone did a great job of getting around the trouble, but the first lap excitement wasn't finished. Maybe trying to make up for a poor qualifying performance, points leader and series overlord Richard Hampstead, for lack of a gentler euphemism, punted Hamilton. Spiral Slice and Green Eggs both fell back in the standings, but before it was over, they were back near the front. After Hampstead found trouble again, Joe Piesnick slowed down from the lead to allow for a great team finish for Team Element Motorsports 1 with Hamilton showing up in the background. Adam, the series leaves the wonderful rhythm of Phillip Island to a track that feels more like racing down supermarket aisles, Motegi.
Yeah, this is a complete contrast to what you would find with Phillip Island. You know, the track, I think, is a little bit narrower. You know, you're kind of swinging more back and forth on what ultimately is a flat track. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Twin Ring Motegi, you're talking about a track that is actually, two completely different tracks. So you have an oval track, and then you have an oval track. Now, unlike what we find here in the United States, a lot of times, the road course doesn't actually touch the oval, well, really at all. They're two completely separate facilities. The road course portion that we'll be racing on today will be the Grand Prix layout. It is 4.8 kilometers in length, or 2.983 miles, with 14 turns. And, of course, the lap record around this place is about 1:32.8, set by a Super Formula car. NASCAR's raced on the oval here with some exhibition races, but the road course saw an IndyCar race a few years back after the earthquake and everything that Japan saw. Overall, though, this track can be pretty interesting, pretty challenging, but it is definitely not like the free-floating Phillip Island that we saw last week.
And to get a better look at it, let's go ahead and take a lap around it in the GSRC BMW with Kevin Brown.
All right, we've got Kevin Brown in the GSRC BMW, so let's do a lap around Motegi. Coming down to turn 1, we'll turn a full 180 degrees around a double apexer. But because the curve is so gentle, it's kind of a medium speed corner. Pass attempts will need you to be well up the inside if you don't want your nose chopped off. If anything, it's a lot more important to square off the exit right so that you get a good launch down this next stretch. See, turn 3 is a bit sharper, so it's a slightly better opportunity to execute an overtake. Now, even by yourself, 4 will be tricky. Just a little lift, and then try your best to carry as much speed as you can onto the third long straightaway in a row. You're certainly not shy of chances to make a pass happen, because turn 5 is sharper yet again. With the track switching direction, it's easy to hold left to defend, but just be wary not to outbrake yourself. Your opponent could pull an over-under and take you on the exit. 6 is a flat-out gentle bend that will lead into the 7 and 8 complex. These are 2 of the trickiest bends on the track. This is a medium-speed S-curve that looks simple enough, but lures you into getting onto the power too quickly with its longer second half. And if you find yourself being hounded, that's a very bad move to make. Turn 9 is a sharp left-hander that, despite the short run, is prone to surprise passes. But it's a decreasing radius, so it has its own set of challenges, without fending off your opponent. Should you find yourself taken down a notch, the good news is that turn 10 can provide easy redemption. It's a long, slow horseshoe hairpin with a good-sized braking zone, so having a go on entry can work. But at the same time, you can square off the second half and get a great launch, creating an opportunity to outdrag someone down to 11. But you're not scot-free from there. 11 has a bit of a downhill braking zone, and even though there's plenty of sand trap to save you if you overshoot it, you'll lose precious time getting back to the track. Now, we head back under the oval into the infield where we hit the final chicane. The jink to the left right before you brake means a stable car during deceleration will be extra valuable. Be careful not to wander into the weeds on the exit. Straighten the car out and ride it home to the start-finish line. You've then finished a lap around Twin Ring Motegi.
And there's a lap up the frozen food aisle, down the canned veggies, back up the sports drink aisle, through the bakery and deli. That is Motegi. Okay, let's quickly take a look at the driver points. Now, yes, Team TTL's Richard Greeneggs and Hampstead finally met his match, and to quote Rocky Raccoon, Greeneggs said, "Doc, it's only a scratch." And the whopping 395-point lead proves that true. The real drama, however, starts just below the leader, with only 30 points separating Evolution Racing's Australia 2's Simon Fiegel, Team X-Ray's Justin Strickland, Trans Tanzam Racing's Michael Healy, and the Phillip Island winner Joe Piesnik of Dynamic Sim Racing. They all fill out the top 5. Let's go over to the team championship, and while the driver championship is a runaway, the team championship is far from it. Zachary Hanlon and Riley Blythe's Phillip Island result moved Evolution Racing Australia 3 up 2 spots into the lead. Now, Hampstead's Team TTL dropped from the lead into second. Joe Piesnik and Scott Tamlin saw Element Motorsports 1 drop down into third. Holden Station is Lit Motorsports, manned by Jackson Freer and Jeremiah Salty Morton. Strong arming their way back into the top 5 was Apex Mafia Racing and its crew of Martin Stilvasi and Mark Simon. So, Adam, we've recapped last race. We took a trip around Motegi, talked about driver and team points. Now let's take a minute to go over this unique format and rules that is iRacing Drivers Associations. They'll use it here for round 8.
Right, you know, if we're going to start with what's running right now is the 30-minute open qualifying, which, maybe a spoiler alert, Gary Hamilton and Joe Piesnik leading the way right now. Afternoon sprint, this is what we're going to start out with here today, is it'll be about a 30-minute race, and we're starting with sequential qualifying as far as the grid, and of course standard championship points will be on the line. Standard race points will be on the line as well for the night sprint, which is also 30 minutes, but we're going to turn out the lights, and if you've ever raced this place in the dark, well, I'll tell you what, you're going to want to stick around, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun to watch here on GSRC. We're going to take the top 10 from qualifying from this race, and we're going to invert them. Not the actual race results, the qualifying results here. So as of right now, Gary Hamilton would start 10th in the night format, which will be coming up here in about 30 minutes.
And then we have what exactly we're going to have here is the race details. So let's see if we can bring those up. Maybe we can talk about what they're going to call the night sprint details here.
Yeah, we're starting with your normal GT3 cars, your Audi, your BMW, Mercedes, McLaren, and Ford. Of course, open setup. We're not talking about any kind of restrictions at all on fuel, and no fast repairs in this series. And of course, we saw it play a role last week in Phillip Island. We've seen it play a role multiple times this season, and we're talking about 46 incident cap. But I don't think that's going to be as much of a role, play as much of a role in the story here today as what we've seen at other places. But still, something to keep an eye on. And of course, we're running with dynamic weather, which we'll be keeping an eye on as well when we open up the race session.
Yeah, and right now they're qualifying this. Now, of course, this will carry over as they race here today. So right now, the afternoon and they're racing. The track is 75 degrees, or it's a partly cloudy, 75 degrees. But the track temperature, my goodness, that they call it the land of the rising sun. Well, that sun is up high in the sky and pounding down because the track temperature is 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Should make those cars kind of slippery. Now, one of the things I'm a little disappointed at when I saw what the race format was going to be here, where they were going to invert some of the qualifying, I go, well, that's going to be great for who I call the overlord of this series, Richard Hampstead, because he dominates. That's at least going to force him to start farther down in 10th. Well, Rich decided he wasn't going to be here for this one, so what it's going to do is shake up all the guys that we normally see that's going to be competitive right now. We'll talk about that right now. The worst thing that you want to do if you're qualifying is to end up in 11th spot, because that means you're not going to get the benefit of the regrid. You'll be starting in 11th both times in the afternoon sprint and then again in the evening sprint. And remember, standard race points for both. It's not like you only get it in the main event. This time, no, that afternoon sprint is worth just as much as that night sprint. Almost like a double points event here today. So, Adam, let's take a second and talk about, I really love this track. We were talking before we went live about a lot of people don't like it. I think it's great. I think this place offers a lot of passing zones.
It does, because you're more going and then you're stopping, and then you're going and you're stopping. Well, every time that you enter in a significant braking zone, you're talking usually about a good passing zone. So this track, I think, there's one really, really good one at the end of the I think it's the back straight here is about 750 meters. There's one really good one there, and the rest of them are not too far behind it because of that whole stopping and starting thing.
Now, as is the case usually for these events where they combine all the GT3 cars together, it's typical that we see the Audis and the Mercedes as the dominant factors. We do have a sprinkling, though. There are a few BMWs sprinkled in there. Then, of course, there's always the favorite. And sitting on the pole right now in the only Ford is Gary Hamilton. It's great to see Spirosplice doing such a good job for that. And then there is a few McLarens. Joe Piesnik. So when we look at this, and of course this is qualifying good change by the time it's done, you look at Hamilton up there in the Ford and Piesnik in the McLaren. It's a nice mixture, isn't it, Adam?
It is, and what you're seeing right now is the cars that do that whole start and stop routine the best. Because for me, my experience driving the Ford and driving the McLaren, I really love those at tracks where you have to worry about getting that good corner exit and being able to put the hammer down. Now, you got to make sure the cars are straight before you put the hammer down, but once you put the hammer down, I'll always love how the McLaren has that reverse afterburner effect when you get off the gas, but I wish they'd do it when you get onto the gas, because the thing will really rocket off the corner if you do it right.
Well, take away the teammate aspect and whatever else you have to do. If you had your choice, what would be your overall? What's your favorite car out of these five to race?
I really, really used to like the Ford, and then I liked the BMW. Lately, I've really been falling in love with the Mercedes. I just feel like it has more uniformity amongst the different tracks, and you can usually do pretty okay with it no matter what track you're at. And the car sounds like a beast, and I really like that when I'm driving. When I open up the loud pedal, I want it to sound nice.
For me, actually, if you ask my wife, her vote would be for Gary Hamilton's Ford. She never drives at all, but she says it is the best looking car out there. And I got to admit, it really goes to show you how great that car looked back. God, what would it be? It looks just like the car that was 40, I guess, almost 50 years ago, probably. That car still is beautiful, low slung. Man, what a great looking race machine. And that's a 50th. Oh, you know what? It is 50th because it's the 50th anniversary and they won at Le Mans. So, hey, I got my timing pretty good without even knowing it there. I hear from my little voice in my ear. Okay, we're just about wrapped up with qualifying. They got a little ways to go. So before we do that, Adam, you've been with us a few times. I'm going to put you on the spot. It's a little harder to pick a winner here today. And I'll give you got 2 races, so I'm going to give you 2 different names you can use here today. Without Gary Hamstead here, it's a little harder to call. Give me a couple names that you think might be using what we have right now, who you'll see at the first afternoon heat, and then who might be the guy who sneaks into the nighttime heat.
Well, I think for the first heat, I've really liked the way that Hanlon's been able to start some races here this season. I think that he might be able to get a good run from right now what he's sitting in is the 3rd position. Of course, like we saw last week at Phillip Island, I mean, you could have some first lap action here, especially going into the really tight first corners. So I think Hanlon's going to be somebody to watch during the first heat. Going into the second heat, Clint Shane Smith, if he ends up inverted in the 10th spot, he's going to be awfully hard to get around. He's a hungry driver, and I think that if he could get a good launch, a good start for the second heat, I think he'll be awfully tough to get around.
And we got the news that Clint Smith has joined Element Racing, I believe. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work point-wise, if his points are going to pick up. That is yet to be determined, but he's very excited to be in with that group. He says it's a big opportunity for him to learn a lot. And currently he is sitting in 10th right now in the qualifying, and qualifying looks to be pretty much, I think everybody got their times in. So let's go ahead, Director, if you think it's okay, let's bring up the qualifying, the gridding here for the very first race. This is the 30-minute afternoon race. There's going to be no pitting here today. So, Adam, let's take it a row at a time. I'll take the front one, the fun guys. Gary, Spiral Splice Hamilton in his Ford. Outside of row 1 in the McLaren, it's going to be Joe Piesnick. Adam?
Yeah, like you're saying, Hamlin, somebody to keep an eye on, starting the inside of row 2. Outside of row 2, Marcelo Rivera.
Scott Tamlin and Simon Fiegel make up row 3.
Row 4 belongs to Justin Strickland and Riley Blythe.
Apex Mafia driver Martin Slavanti in the 9th spot, and Clint Smith, he got there. He's in the 10th spot. Look for him to be on the pole when it's dark.
Yeah, row 6 is going to belong to Dylan Shepard, and on the outside, Mark Rayner.
The next row is made up by Warren Pinkering, and here's a new name. We saw him first race last week, Ben Darley Jr.
Jeremiah Morton and Grant Hines holding down row 8.
David Jellings hoping to have a better first lap than he had at Phillip Island, going to be paired up next to Jared Tyerman.
Natalie starting in 19th in inside of row 10. Outside of row 10, Jackson Freer.
TJ, don't tell him JT Brown in the 21st position. Outside of him, Mark Simon.
And Philip Wallace starting in the 23rd, and because you're a fabulous commentator here, join the session as a driver. I am appearing in row 12 in 24th spot, and I will finish in 24th spot, believe it or not.
Go put in a lap and hope you vulture some spots on it.
That's right.
Yes, the mistakes and the punishment. We don't need to slam him with the mics off, because his punishment is that he'll show up in the standings there. Adam Young, of course. Adam Young, an experienced driver. Okay, they have look at that beautiful field out there right now, lined up behind that beautiful chrome gold plated Mustang under the Japanese sun. And are we going to get, there we go. For a second there, I was a little worried we were going to get a standing start, but of course we wouldn't have that with the pace car out there in front, so we're waiting for them to get all the cars out there, and they'll take a little lap around here. Now, they're not going to have a full pace lap. They start on the back half of the course. So,
you want to know real quick a little known fact about Twin Ring Motegi, Bill? I don't know if you knew this or not, but Twin Ring actually has a quarter-mile dirt track out here somewhere.
I did not know that. That's good to know. So there's really 3 venues out here.
There is. I just found that out.
And of course, maybe that's one of the tracks they can add in when dirt comes to iRacing. Everybody excited about that. Gary Hamilton out there in that blue and black machine. Now, they're painted the same. Look at that Ford and McLaren. Both painted very similarly. Those are both teammates. They are on different versions of Element Racing, but both out there. Hamilton pacing him, and Hamilton gets a bad start. He's being challenged on the inside. That's Hanlon. Hanlon wants to get a good run through here. Look at Hamilton be able to dive that Ford in deep. He's connected on the outside from Peastick. Peastick trying to get in now. Peastick's falling back. Peastick fighting back in the McLaren. A lot of excitement going on, and when it's all said and done, look what happens. They all kind of sort back into the way that they gridded. Hanlon in third, watching the whole thing as Tamlin ducking up on the inside is Rivera. We haven't seen Marcelo Rivera in a while. Good to see him back here now, up to 4th position. We saw Rivera be very effective earlier on in the season. Welcome back to the race. So your top 5, Hamilton, Peastick, Hanlon, Rivera, and Tamlin, Adam.
Yeah, I don't know how they all did it, but every single car has been able to get through the first couple of corners without major incidents. Some good racing here early.
They work their way under the underpass. Nice battle going on behind. Look at Justin Strickland is in a battle right there, and we see that, oh my goodness, that is Dalen Shepard making his way up to 8th. That yellow McLaren, I guess it's green, my wife tells me, of Justin Strickland back to 9th. Shane Smith still holding 10th. Meanwhile, the lead stays the same up front.
Everybody's already pretty much gotten into a single file line, and a little bit of action looks like a little bit further back in the pack with Mark Rayner. Looked like he had a little bit of an off, but immediately gets it back onto the track. I don't even think he lost the spot. But these cars, for the most part, already trying to get into single file and start to sort things out. And that's not necessarily the worst thing here, because that starts to allow you to take advantage of some of those passing zones we were talking about.
After the first corner excitement, Gary Hamilton making his way around has been able to distance himself a little bit from the McLaren of Peastick. Oh, we have an accident on the screen. It looks like it might have been, it's David Jellings, I think. It happened right under the underpass, so I really can't see it. There's a good angle there from that camera there. That's David Jellings. We are on board now with Jellings. Looking ahead. Ahead is Wallace. And here he comes. He's going to make this right-hander, and then he comes up. Does he just... Oh, no, he has on the outside. Not sure who that car is. Oh, boy.
Looks like the 23 machine of Jeremiah Morton.
Well, getting a little salty was Morton there. And Jellings has another incident, another bad first lap. Follow that up. We talked about it earlier. He had that bad lap at Phillip Island. He's got another one here today. Let's go back to live now, and we're looking at Joe Peastick running in second. Distancing himself away is Gary Hamilton. That lead up to about 1.5 seconds now. Peastick back in second, but he's not able to pull away from Hanlon, Rivera, and Tamlin. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we go back a little bit farther. Fiegel and Blythe hanging on in 7th position. Shepard up to 8th. Strickland and Clint Smith started in 10th, still holding into that 10th position right now. Top 10 running pretty much single file.
Yeah, we're single file through the back. I did see one car just have a big off and slam into the Armco. It looks like, it's Clint. One of the guys I think we should watch here coming into the second sprint race, put that Audi into the wall and put it in hard.
That's too bad. He was having a great run. We're watching on replays. We ride on board with Clint Shane Smith right now, the new Papa. Hope the baby's not watching this. Give them nightmares.
Oh, it just gets
like Daddy.
Car looks like it just got a little bit upset coming out of the corner right there. Maybe touched the curbing a little bit. And if you've driven that Audi before, you know that curbs aren't the nicest thing in the world to it. They have a real good tendency of upsetting the car.
Well, it's a good news, bad situation for Smith. The bad news is he's going to have a bad finish this time. Good news is this will not affect him. He's get a brand new car for that night race. He'll be able to start on the pole, and if you're going to have a bad result, I guess you want to have it when you're starting 10th rather than up on the pole. Right now, we look at Scott Tamlin in 4th, and it's a tight battle going on up here in the lead. Hamlin in 3rd again, Piesnik. Those order are not changing, although Piesnik is continuing to lose ground to the Ford of Gary Hamilton. Spiral Splice really has that car on rails. Piesnik running in 2nd, Hanlon, Tamlin, Rivera, Fiegel all running in order. Blythe, Shepard still in there, Justin Strickland, and now moving up into the top 10 because of Smith's misfortune is Warren Pickering.
Everybody's pretty well spread out right now. The gap already between 1st and 22nd place is already up to about 24.5 seconds and growing. Of course, we've got some cars with damage back there, but everybody is pretty well behaving for the most part right now, Bill.
Well, if you want to get a little excitement, let's try this. We'll run down from 11th through 20th while they run single file ahead, and we'll cut if there's anything going on up there. In fact, maybe, Adam, you can keep an eye on those guys up front while I run down 11. Yell in if anything happens. Running in 11th right now, Ben Darling Jr. He's being closely chased by Martin Slavasi. Then there's about a 2-second back gap to Dapp to 3rd position. Jackson Freer, who's had that trouble at Phillip Island. Good to see him. Got in that first lap now, working well into the race. 3 laps in. Behind him in 14th is Grant Hines. Peeking into him in that beautifully painted, as he goes under there, that's the BMW. Oh, it's a Mercedes of Mark Rayner. Following him, we saw a little action there. There's that black number 23 that Adam identified as the guy who put one driver into the wall. That's Jeremiah Salty Morning running in 16th position. Right behind him, Jared Tyerman in 17th. The final 3 spots to round out the top 20. TJ Brown started in 21st, up 3 positions. Philip Wallace started in 23rd, up 4 positions into 19. And rounding out your top 20, Mark Simon.
Yeah, up front right now, we're not really seeing a whole lot going on other than Hanlon continuing to try to put the pressure on Piesnik. I mean, he is just not going away, only lagging about 0.4 of a second back right now.
Let's stay on this battle for a while that we're looking at right now. Hanlon running in 3rd, just ahead of him, the McLaren of Piesnik. Now, Hanlon has a reputation. He is one stubborn driver to try to get around, and he's not afraid to try to move you up a little bit. And go behind him. We have I thought I saw a little bit of action there. Rivera still running in 4th. A nice battle behind them, 4th and 5th between Rivera and Fiegel. Caught them out of the corner of my eye. So 2 battles that we can watch. Piesnik and Hanlon right now as they fight. And then...
I think we had somebody get net-coated back there.
No, I don't know if it was or not. It looks like it, but I think he got ran into. It might be, if you look at the car of Scott Tamlin. Yeah, Tamlin, it's kind of one of those weird things where you get that neck coat. It's almost like it doesn't feel your brake input. Watch Tamlin from behind. Just boom. You can see the strange acceleration going on there. Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you got to remember that everybody's here is racing over the internet. As much as things have improved over the last couple of years, you still sometimes have things like that happen, and a lot of drivers have to try to chalk it up mentally as far as like a mechanical failure in the real world. But I'm pretty sure that's not helping him feel very much better about the situation right now.
About as hard to swallow as it would be in real world racing as well. But yeah, that kind of happens. All right, we look at right now Pickering running in 9th position. And with that error, in fact, let's go back now. This is a nice battle going back here. We see Strickland in that green McLaren. Tell me if it's yellow, boys. My wife says it's green. It's yellow to my cones and rods. It is green. So look at that. We have Shepard out in front in 7th, and there's Strickland involved in there. Pickering right in there. Fiegel in the mix too, and Darley.
It looks like Hanlon tried to take a brief look to the outside of Piesnik there for a minute, so this action might be trying to pick back up.
Only a 30-minute sprint, and with no restrictions on the fuel, there'll be no pit stop today, so it's really about pace rather than strategy. or as many would say, the luck of the iRacing random pit stop times. But again, the best action is, oh, look at this, we have a pass now. We look at Pickering. That's Strickland in that green McLaren as they go through the underpass. He's on the outside. He cuts off. That's Shepard that he closes the door on. My goodness, Justin Strickland closes, and Shepard is loose again. Getting around now, there goes Pickering around Shepard. And now in the blue, that's the blue BMW. No, oh. Now look at Shepard fight back in the Mercedes. He pushes Pickering to the outside. A bunch of Mercedes fighting each other. Back in front is Shepard. Pickering and Fiegel. Great battling going on for 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Oh, that's a fantastic battle right now. I mean, they're that little pass right there, though, was about as textbook as you can get to try to make a good spot in that portion here at Twin Ring Motegi. And then that that Mercedes just does not seem to have the back end hooked up. That's about the second or third time I've seen him get loose out of some of these tight corners.
Pickering gets the pass done one more time on Shepard. Shepard now saying hello to his J-Lo there as Pickering in front. Shepard tries to dive it back down in there. This is the best racing on the track right now. Now ducking in is Fiegel on the inside of Shepard as he battles trying to get up into that 9th position. Fiegel pushing Shepard to the outside. Now Shepard has the preferred position. Fiegel dives it in deep, but he's not going to be able to do it. Fiegel has to worry about the over-under coming from Darley.
Meanwhile, up front, Hanlon is making a move on P-stick there, side by side.
That's Hamlin in the, as they come up here, he's going to be in the preferred position as they come into this right-hander, and he's going to get it done. Hanlon gets that car up into front.
Look at that power of the McLaren trying to do the over-under there.
So a new second-place driver. Of course, none of these guys are even in a whisper's length toward Hamilton, who has about a 3.5-second lead back to second place. But your new second-place driver is Zachary Hanlon. Peacenik in third and Rivera in fourth. So just to make it tough on the commentator, it's Hamilton and then Hanlon.
Well, nothing ever comes easy, Bill.
Yeah, we don't have Hampstead here. I would have to ask for a pay raise if I had Hampstead, Hamilton, and Hanlon all in the same race.
Yeah, I think Joe's already checking the books, and he nixed that already for you.
Let's go back to 10th position if we can. This is some great racing. Simon Fiegel just got around Dylan Shepard. This continues to go back and forth as they work their way down the canned food aisle now. Here comes, working to the outside. Darley now makes a peek on the inside. That's Shepard in the dark machine. Fiegel out in front as they go under the underpass. This is a battle for 9th.
This group, all about 5 or 6 of them, and you have a couple of people that have now split away. They've been this tight almost since the race started, and now, of course, actually starting to mix it up a little bit, making it exciting for everybody. But I'm pretty sure Dylan Shepard right now, with the way his car's handling, he's pretty much just wanting that night race to start getting here fast. Because with the cooler track temperatures at night, I bet that'll help his car hook up just a ton better.
My mom would say it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt and ends up crying. So right now, everybody's still enjoying the battle. Fiegel in 9th, Shepard in 10th, Darley in 11th, Silvassi in 12th. You can see Silvassi at the tail end there at the booth watching all the action. For Apex Mafia. Back at the front, nothing much is changing. Gary Hamilton. Well, it will be exciting when we go to the night race, Adam, to see Hamilton have to start that in 10th position. Clearly, that Ford is on rails today. You look at him there, you couldn't even see him in the Dougie Beard camera shot there. He is so far out in front. Let's see if we can see it here. We watch Hamilton. Let's see if he'll. There they come around. You can see him in the back of the picture there, finally getting around.
And I'm not even so much sure that Hamilton couldn't pull away further from these guys. Like, I really think that Hamilton right now is more pacing himself, making sure he doesn't make a mistake on his own, as opposed to worrying about trying to put as much distance between him and second place right now.
And honestly, he's 4.3 seconds ahead. That's probably just fine. The last thing he needs to do is try to work his way through lap traffic. We are at the just under 15 minutes to go, so close to the halfway mark right now.
Ooh, Darling
And
just
we
had
had an
a
off.
big off. He's out in the gravel and back on track.
You never really quite know what you're going to get here in the iRacing Driver Association race. Sometimes these are really clean racing, which is what we've seen today. Clean but aggressive. Sometimes it, like what we saw at Phillip Island, is tough. Look at this battle going on right now. That's Freer peeking in there.
Ooh, P6 here trying to take second place back from Hanlon. They are dogfighting right now.
Oh yeah, let's go up. Hanlon seemed to have come back into the battle here. He pulled away, but now Hanlon has either fallen back or Pisnik has gained back on him, and now it's a three-car battle with Marcelo Rivera. We talked about him earlier. We saw him earlier in the season. He was a very competitive driver. He hasn't seen much of him through the mid-season, but right now he's in the hunt. Let's stay on this battle for second. It's Hanlon out there in front right now. Gets that car a little bit wide onto the grass. Then comes the McLaren, and then Rivera back there watching.
Yeah, P-Snake has to be really careful here because just a second ago, he actually was almost right alongside Hanlon again, but lost so much time trying to make that move. Marcelo almost was able to take complete advantage of him. Obviously, they got it all sorted back out, but P-Snake is wanting that spot back, and he's wanting it back now.
And we talked about the manufacturers. If you run through this real quick, fifth position, Tamlin. You have Tamlin and an Audi. Then you have the Mercedes of Rivera. Then you got the McLaren of Pisnik in third, moving up a little bit. You're back to another Mercedes of Hanlon. And then you got the Ford out in front. 4 manufacturers represented in the top 5. You can't do much better than that. Well, I guess you could 5 for 5.
Yeah, we just need a BMW up there somewhere, but I have to look back through the field and see where the closest BMW is right now.
Not a lot of love for the BMW. There we go. We look at Philip Wallace running 17th
we have
position.
to go way back for Philip there, but BMW is not as popular as what it used to be. That's for sure. I mean, especially since the Audi and the Mercedes came out, kind of seen the participation with that car kind of fall off a little bit. Still a good car to drive, though. I know a lot of people still love it.
Yeah, they complained about the top end speed on it, but it is really nice through those twisty sections, though. Boy, put me in one of those for an endurance race. I get that car home free because it's so easy for me to drive. Let's stay on this battle for second now. We still have about 13 minutes to go. We just tick under 13. Now we're working on our 12th minute. Hanlon out in front, Pisnik in third, Rivera in fourth. Boy, look at Marcelo Rivera, just back there watching the whole thing. If I didn't know better, I'd say Rivera's back there saving fuel, but that's not the case today, as there is no pit stop.
He's almost just waiting right now to see if something happens between the 2 cars in front of him. He's just sitting there relaxing, ready to take advantage.
Honestly, probably thinking there's really no point if I get around them, they'll just hound me the rest of the way.
Yeah,
Adam,
pretty much.
Is this a draft track pretty much as if you were a little off pace, is there enough straightaway here where you could hang on to somebody who might be a little faster than you?
You've got a couple of longer straightaways that you might be able to, but we got a good move.
We talked
Marcelo's deciding he is not going to wait any longer.
So Pisnik drops another position down as Adam was talking about the draft. Rivera was waiting, and we're going to go to replay on this, Adam. Tell me what you see here as Rivera makes this dive to the inside.
He just sees that little McLaren there, a Pisnik. He didn't get around the corner so well. Gives Rivera just the enough room that he needs. I mean, the corner before, Rivera just gets a great run, throws it in there, and Pisnik having to react to it kind of runs wide just a little bit, just enough to give Marcelo the position.
And of course, one of the things, we've been here for the whole series. I've watched the whole thing, so they pay us to give opinions. I would say that Pisnik probably is a better qualifier than he is a racer, although he's outstanding in both. I mean, don't take me wrong. Oh, and there's a car going wide. That's Hanlon, gets loose. He loses that position. He drops back, Peacenik not able to take advantage of it. Now seeing if he can find a spot for that McLaren to get in there. But meanwhile, with Hanlon's mistake, we talked about Rivera sitting back there just waiting for a mistake, and he saw one from Hanlon. Rivera moves up to second. Oh no! Peacenik is loose! He put it in the wall! He nosed it in hard!
Oh, that's the problem sometimes with the McLaren out in the outside of the corner there. When you're coming out of it, it just wants to snap on you, and a perfect example right there. It just did not have the car underneath them under acceleration.
We are on replay as we ride on board with John right now. You can feel it, Adam. You can feel the tail end come around.
It's just a sick feeling because there isn't too much you can do to save that car once it gets just off its point of access there. I mean, it is coming around on you here along for the ride.
Comes around and then you're pointed right at the wall, and there's just no slowing it down. Peacenik back out there running in 12th position. John, I'm sorry, I talked about you. In fact, if we watch, there's Peacenik getting around a driver that just had a problem. That's Darley. He's going to give up 12th. Peacenik gets that car back up into 11th.
One thing
Go ahead.
Oh, I was getting ready to note right before Peacenik had his problem there. While they were battling, Scott Tamlin, after having some of that unstable connection a little while ago, he was able to get back up into that fight right there. I mean, he was really starting to gain on that pack. But now that you have Marcelo and Marcelo and Hanlon, which Marcelo makes a move for second there, with Hanlon running a little bit wide. But with those two up front, I have a feeling that they're going to be pulling away from Tamlin here again.
As we watch, we look at Marcelo racing for Evolution Motorsports Australia in that beautiful Logitech sponsored car. They were so happy to bring Logitech on as a sponsor. Good to see Marcelo back comfortably running in second position now. And that's his teammate right behind him. Those are teammates there. Zachary Hanlon also, his teammate running in third. So Evolution running 2-3 right now. Assuming they are on the same Australian team. There's a few of those Australians, 2 or 3. I can't. Let's assume they're on the same team. I believe they might be. Looking at this battle for 12th. Now that's Peacenik in the McLaren, that damaged McLaren up in front. But honestly, it seems to have pretty good pace, even though he nosed it in hard. Right behind him is Darley. And those guys are teammates. Been watching the whole thing. We haven't seen talk much about him. Grant Hines.
Yeah, going back and looking at the way that that Peacenik hit the wall, he might get lucky and just have just the damage right there at the front end as far as the body work and everything else. I'm not sure it really grabbed any of the suspension, so it might hurt him as far as straightaway performance, but he might be okay in the corners, which is probably exactly why he's being able to keep pace with these guys right now.
Looks pretty. Yeah. Looks pretty competitive, and of course, it's a mid-engine car, so probably didn't damage much in that respect. Look at Shepard out there in 9th now. That's Silvassi in 10th behind him, and there's that McLaren looking for. Boy, it seems to really not be able to pull up much though on Silvassi down the straight. Does pretty well as they work through 1 and 2. Now they head down the canned vegetable aisle looking into 3 and 4. These are a little different, not quite the same as 1 and 2. 3 and 4 a little trickier here. 3 a little wider than 4 a little tighter. And then you go back down towards the cashier's aisle to the front of the store again. Going into 5, that's going to take you under the underpass. This is a great place to make a pass, and seeing if Silvassi can get up there. He's going to try it. He ducks in. Closing the door like Queen Elsa at her coronation is Shepard. Holding on to 9th place, 10th, 11th is Peacenik, boy, and now here it comes back, fighting back is Slavossi, looking for somewhere to go on Shepard as we work with 6 minutes to go in the race. Nothing but now, here comes the McLaren to the inside, and Peacenik's going to get that job done. He takes that spot. Now it's side-by-side racing between Slavossi and Darley. Darley on the inside. No, I'm sorry, that's where we go. As they work their way through these final corners, that's Peacenik now ahead, and there is Slavossi is still side-by-side. Making a little bit of run is Darley. And Darley's going to be able to get in front for this right-hander that's going to settle down. Watching the whole thing from behind is Grant Hines. They work their way under the underpass with 5.5 minutes to go. It settles down now. Shepard in 9th, Peacenik in 10th. Behind him is teammate of Darley, Slavossi, and Hines behind him.
And this is right now the best battle on the racetrack.
Yep.
I mean, these guys are really trying to duke it out, and Peacenik's trying to get any spot he can right now to kind of help his points stay a little bit before we go into the next session. Remember, it's equal points between the afternoon session here that we're in right now and the night session that'll be coming up in a few minutes. And of course, this session starting to wind down. Only about 5 minutes left here. With we still got Hamilton still solidly out in front. Hamlin, though, not able to put away Scott Tamlin. Scott Tamlin's been able to gain a little bit on Hamlin here the last couple of laps up front. But still back there for that 9th through 12th positions right now, still the battle on the track.
Adam, do me a favor. Keep your binoculars on that 9th battle. Let's see if we can get a little attention to some of these guys we haven't talked much about. If something happens for 9th, give me a yell. Let's go to 14th position. Salty Morton running in 14th ahead of Mark Rayner. Haven't heard much from Rayner right now, running at 15th. We'll go back, run out a few more of these guys. Jackson Freer started 20th, up 4 positions into 16th. We talked about the only BMW out there. That's Philip Wallace inside the top 20, up 6 spots into 17th. Mark Simon behind him running in 18th. 19th spot, Jared Tyreman rounding out the top 20. Hey, there he is, Clint Shane Smith. We saw him have trouble earlier. He started in 10th, dropped 10 positions back, still inside the top 20 though. And really, that's all the drivers. Maybe we'll get 2 more here. Drop back to 21st, Nino Natal running at 21st. 22nd, TJ Brown. That's really gets pretty much. Oh, that's everybody who's on the lead lap right now. So
we got a car off back here. I believe it was Martin Svasi ended up getting off there going into the last corner, leading onto the front straightaway. But he was able to get it turned back around. That's the beauty here is that some of these corners, some of these guys get problems. Their gravel traps are large, and they're able to save it from going into the wall sometimes. The perfect case where he's able to get it straightened back out.
You can see Silvassi running 4th in line right now in that white and blue machine. The car gets loose. He goes off into the beach, picks up his towel, puts it back in his bag, and without anything done, he drops 2 positions after his little excursion to get a tan, running now in 15th. Not there long enough to get a sunburn. Under 3 minutes to go now. Hamilton with a 6.6 second lead. Spiral Slice having everything his own way. Second position, Marcelo Rivera comfortably ahead by over 2 seconds over Scott Tamlin. Let's go ahead, maybe, Director, and look a little bit of this right now. Tamlin being pursued a little bit by Zachary Hanlon. I think if Hanlon certainly has the pace, if he can keep the car back on the tarmac, we'll see if he can make a run for that final podium spot. With 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes to go, should be looking as our leader goes across the start-finish line. Right now, I'm going to assume he's going to get 1 more lap, and then they'll throw. So then they'll throw the white. So we think 2 laps to go here. We watch the camera on Zachary Hanlon right now. Always maybe the most exciting driver out there. The hardest driver, I think, of all the lot. I would venture to say he has probably passed more cars this season than anybody. Often 2 or 3 times the same car in the same race.
Yeah, the couple of races I've been able to catch here, the IDA series, it's just a fantastic series. Some of Australians' best GT3 drivers out here today. Hamlin is he always finds himself in positions where he has to do that, but when it gets down to the end of the race, he manages to put it on, turn up the heat a little bit and get those spots back, which it's better than the alternative. Of course, got a couple cars looking back here. You got Peacenik just trying to look to the inside of Dylan Shepard, but of course I think he's more just trying to let him know he's still there, get in his mirrors a little bit as opposed to an actual move. Of course, we're getting down here to the end, so he's running out of time if he's going to do something.
Peacenik, another driver that spends a lot of time this season making up for on-track mistakes, as he's trying to look to the inside. I think he's going to get that done.
Yeah, that's a good move right there.
Yeah, he gets it in there.
And Dylan's going to have to try to get back in line here before he loses another spot. But no, he's fighting back on the outside of Peacenik. Oh, gets a little bit wide. Gets her straightened out in the grass after that contact. Should be coming here to the white flag, I believe.
As we watch on replay, all things considered, that's probably the best result he could have hoped for there. He's going to be able to get the car going straight.
Yeah, I was just talking about a few minutes ago about there being places to run off here in a lot of corners. That's not one of them. I mean, he was able to collect it and save it, and that's good to keep it out of the tires that they have right there.
But in the blink of an eye, he loses those 3 spots and falls back to 12th. Okay, maybe we can put the camera. I think all the things settled down. It looks like the Tanlin and Hamlin battle has settled down. Hamlin dropped off of it. He made a run, lost momentum, and they can't do anything more there. So for the final half lap, maybe we can look at our leader. Wire to wire so far for Gary Spiral Sliced Hamilton. A nice job from that Ford. The good news is he's going to pick up standard win points, so that'll help him. The bad news is he's going to start our night race. Now remember, come back in just a few minutes after we run down the standings here. We have another 30 minutes, and it's going to take place in the dark. And if you're a Game of Thrones fans, you know that the night is dark and full of terrors. We'll see what Gary Hamilton will do starting from 10th position. Our pole sitter will be inversely regrid back into that 10th spot. And of course, you got new daddy Clint Smith back going to start from the pole position. Meanwhile, Hamilton negotiating these last few corners, working his way around the right-hander, through underneath the underpass, through the left-hander. One more left-hander than this strong right-hander that sets up down towards the finish line. Your winner of round 8, the afternoon heat, Gary Hamilton in his Ford for the iRacing Driver Association. Second place going to Marcelo Rivera. Third is going to go to Scott Tamlin. Fourth is Zachary Hanlon, not able to get around Tamlin, but still happy for fourth. Here comes the battle. Riley Blythe in 5th. Justin Strickland in 6th. Simon Figel in 7th. 1, 2, 3 there. Warren Pickering in 8th. Then Joe Peacenik, who knows that McLaren into the wall, able to get it back straight again, going to finishing 9th. Rounding out the top 10, Ben Darley. Just outside the top 10 is Grant Hines. Dylan Shepard gets 12th. Jeremiah Salty Morton in 13th, 14th, and 15th go to Martin Slavasi in 15th, just behind Mark Rayner in 14th position. And I'll go ahead and do 15. We have Martin Slavasi in 15th. Adam, why don't you round out from 16th there to the back of the field?
Absolutely. 16th belongs to Jackson Freer. Jared Tyerman coming in the 17th position. Mark Simon in 18th. Clint Shane Smith bringing her home in 19th after that early accident. Nino Natalie finishing in 20th. And TJ Brown. Gonna see what happened to him. He wasn't that far back there a little while ago, finishing in 21st. 1 lap off the pace is Philip Wallace, and 17 laps down after some problems, David Jellings. And of course, I rounded out in the 24th spot.
Okay, what we're going to do right now is take a short break so the announcers can take a bite of their Egg McMuffins. They're going to regroup this field. We'll be back real shortly for the second heat, the night race. Another 30 minutes. We'll invert from the qualifying. We're going to look forward to seeing Clint Shane Smith up on the pole. We'll be back. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll be back in just a few. Do not go gentle into that good night. Welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the iRacing Driver Association's Round 8, the doubleheader, and you are back for the night heat. We just got through the afternoon heat where we saw Gary Spiral Slice Hamilton in his Ford take it wire to wire. That's the good news for Spiral Slice. The bad news is we're going to invert the qualifying from earlier today, and he'll be starting 10th, which is going to put new Papa Clint Shane Smith on the pole. Adam, it might be a little darker. That maybe make it tougher, but it is cooler, and that should be nice to these drivers.
Cooler, I think, at this point is going to be an understatement. The first race we had during the afternoon, the track temperature was 113 degrees. Now we're looking at a track temperature of 71 degrees. Everything is different about this track. I mean, we might as well not even be racing at the same facility at this point. Everything is different.
And you certainly hope the drivers have had time to work on their night setups. They only have just a few minutes here to get used to it in the night, so if they haven't put in the preparation, not going to be much time to tweak things around. And I'm not really familiar with, if it comes to setups, if you want me to screw things up, let me start to play with the setups. Do you have any familiarity with these? Do you think it's something they would could plan ahead for?
Well, they could try as long as they knew about the format. I mean, you could plan on the fact that it's night. Obviously, with the dynamic weather, iRacing's going to set it up to be cooler, and you know that your air temperature is pretty much going to be equal to your track temperature. So you have a chance to be able to kind of plan on it being cooler, but we're talking about 42 degrees cooler here from what it was just a few minutes ago. So that's going to be wreaking havoc with everything. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to have their car hooked up and who's not, who practiced during the week as far as trying to have like a night setup. And I should mention it was 42 degrees Fahrenheit difference, not centigrade.
Yeah, I'll get out the calculator, try to figure that out. I'm not really sure what that means. And we really should, our apologies to the Aussies. I'm sure you guys are on the metric system down there. We at the United States, we tried to do it, but it was just too complicated for our feeble little brains to figure out. So we'll get there one day and join the rest of the world. I think they use the metric system on Mars and Venus as well. So we need to join the rest of the galaxy. Go to the metric system. Now, you would think that when we talk about what the temperature is going to mean to Gary Hamilton, clearly the fastest car out here right now, you might think that, well, gee, this is good. He's going to have an easier time if he has to get around guys. Maybe the grip is going to help him. I don't think that's going to be the case. I found it that when it comes to a talented driver, the harder the conditions, the more that plays into the guy who has the talent. So I think making it easier, giving more grip to everybody is going to level the playing field. I think it's going to make it a little harder for that Ford to get through from 10th.
Oh yeah, he's just going to have a ton of traffic to worry about. And you've got some pretty fast guys up there that are going to be coming up through. I mean, Hanlon. We also going to have to keep an eye on Peacenik. Those are guys that they're fun to watch, but sometimes can run into a little bit of trouble, and so they're going to have to try to avoid that to get back up through there and be contenders toward the end of this thing.
Boy, I think you put the spotlight on the two drivers, and I think you said it best. They are fun to watch, but man, they can get themselves into trouble, and that is Hanlon and Peacenik, and that's been going on all season. Both those drivers seem to spend most of their race making up for mistakes that are going on. Peacenik is going to be starting. Actually, we can't really tell. Off the top of my head, if memory serves, he's going to be starting in the 9th position. Hanlon will be ahead of him, probably in row 8.
And I go back to the temperature here real quick, just because for everybody in Australia, the 42 degrees temperature Fahrenheit difference. Me and my nice little weather calculator on my phone, because I have those sorts of things, is actually going to be about 23 degrees different centigrade. So that'll put things in perspective a little bit as far as the temperature change for those guys.
That's the extra mile you get when you got Global Sim Racing Channel coverage. We'll give you Fahrenheit. We'll give you metric. We'll go.
I could even give you Kelvin and Rankine as far as as far as temperature scale right now.
Okay, they are gridding up, so let's go through this relatively quickly as it's a short pace lap. Luckily, there's only about 22 drivers out there. As expected, on the pole, it is the new Papa, Clint Shane Smith. Outside of him on row 1, Adam, is Martin Slavasi.
Riley Blythe starting on the inside of row 2, Justin Strickland in 4th.
I am excited to see this inverted. Simon Fiegel in 3rd. They should do this every race. Scott Tamlin outside of row 3.
I think some people would disagree. 7th place, Zachary Hamlin. 8th place, Joe Piesnik.
Oh, what a great row, Hanlon and Piesnik side by side. Then we go back to row number 5. Gary Hamilton is going to start 9th. Dylan Shepard got in there, as where clearly one driver didn't get back from the original afternoon heat.
Okay, so starting 11th, we're going to have Mark Rayner, and 12th, Warren Pickering.
Ben Darlin and Jeremiah Salty Morden starting 13th and 14th.
Grant Hines and David Jelling starting in row 8.
The next row is Jared Tyerman and Nino Natal in the 18th spot.
Jackson Freer in 19th, TJ Brown in 20th.
And then the final, it goes to Mark Simon and Philip Wallace in the lone BMW. The pace cars worked their way under the overpass, pulling off now into the pit lane, which is very hard to find in the dark. Luckily, these drivers won't have to figure out how to negotiate that today, as they have no restrictions on the fuel. They make their way down the main straight. Keep an eye on the inside car now. That is Clint Shane Smith. He's pacing. Boy, he has them coming up slow. Now Clint gets on the gas. Oh my goodness, look at the move being made on the outside by Strickland in that green McLaren, trying to go 3 wide, ducking in deep, driving it down hard into the corner. That was the machine. That blue and white machine was Slavasi, Martin Slavasi. Now he drops back into 3rd position behind Fiegel. I'm sorry, into way back. Slavasi's going to fall. Battle for the lead now. My goodness, as Clint Smith tries to hold the inside, working on the outside. Riley Blythe's going to move into the lead. We have a new leader. Smith has horrible exit out of the corner. Going to give up that position now to Scott Tamlin.
We've got a car off the Armco in the back here.
Pickering is off. We'll see if we can get that in a minute as the battle up in front. Smith falls another position. Moving up into 3rd is Simon Fiegel. Smith dropping back into 4th now.
And go ahead.
We'll see if we can pick up that battle, that mistake right now on the replay.
Justin Strickland having a moment.
Oh, Pickering puts it in the wall from 22nd from running farther back in the field.
And I was looking through the results to see who we were missing real quick, and I can't believe I didn't catch up on this right away. Marcelo Rivera has not joined the session.
Rivera had such a great race. Yeah, finished, I believe he finished 2nd. Wasn't able to come back for this one.
And
so
Strickland having another problem. He had a problem while we were on replay there a minute ago, and now it looks like his problems are continuing.
Now we are back to live. They finished up the first lap, now working lap 2. So as the first lap is finished, let's run down the drivers as they run right now in the top 10. Riley Blythe out in front. He started 3rd, made up 2 positions. Scott Tamlin started 6th, has made up 4 positions, running in the runner-up position right now. Then Fiegel in 3rd, up 2 spots. Clint Smith, who started on the pole, got kind of freight trained, could not get his momentum going, has fallen back to 4th, but now seems to have his legs under him right now. Zachary Hanlon making his way all the way up from 7th, up 1 spot to 6th, actually up to 5th right now. 6th position, Joe Piesnik, and there we have a battle. Actually, look there, that's Piesnik getting that McLaren right around Slavasi. Slavasi drops back to 7th. Piesnik making his way up. How was our last race winner doing? Well, Gary Hamilton is up to 8th position. Only picked up 1 so far. Having trouble finding that Ford to get any room around anybody as he's working on the back of Slavossi right now. 9th position, Dylan Shepard rounding out the top 10. Grant Hines up 5 spots, started 15th. Nice job from Grant. And Hamilton gets around as I speak, gets around Slavossi. Hamilton's got the Ford up to 7th, Adam. Here he comes.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, he wasn't necessarily, didn't have necessarily a bad start, is I think he was waiting for everybody to get kind of sorted out before he started picking people off one by one.
Battle for the lead right now. Oh my goodness, look at this. That Blythe on the inside, and now they work around. Is still too wide there. Blythe and Tamlin as they fight, and it looks like Tamlin's going to get the nod. Blythe trying to fight back, not going to have it done. Looking to try to take that 2nd position to Simon Fiegel back there watching the whole thing. So your new leader as they work lap number 3. Not that it matters, we're only 26 minutes to go. It's all about the time, but your new leader, Scott Tamlin. Audi out in front. Mercedes in 2nd.
Riley Blythe just moved over and let those teammates go by. So now you're looking at Tamlin, Fiegel, and Hanlon running 1, 2, 3.
Let's go back to 6th position because I think this is going to be short-lived here. Clint Smith running in 6th right now, but he's got that Ford stalking him. There he goes. He gets that done. Hamilton moving up now into 6th position. Smith dropping back to 7th.
This is the part where I think Hamilton's strategy, if that was indeed his strategy, lag back, let everybody get in single file, and then pick them off, might start to hurt him because you've got Hamlin running in the 4th spot, the 3rd spot. Tamlin now running in the 1st, Fiegel running in 2nd. Those guys are going to have a chance to run away and put Hamilton out of the contention of this thing as far as a podium spot before he has a chance to even get up there.
Yeah, what Hamilton has to do, like you said, he's got to get through there quickly because Hanlon right now is working on the back of Fiegel. If he can clear Fiegel and Tamlin, then Hanlon will have fresh air in this night sky to run away with it. Let's go back to Piesnik in 5th position, working on Blythe. Piesnik trying to find a way to get that McLaren around that Mercedes that's up in front of him. I love this inverted format. It's exciting. Blythe holding on to 4th. It looks like Fiegel's going to be able to hold on to 2nd. Hamilton, though, now Hamilton is right in 6th. If Piesnik can't make short work of Blythe, Hamilton's going to be right behind him. Here comes the Ford right now. Look at that long camera angle that Dougie Beard gave us as those headlights come right at you. Put on your sunglasses to stop the glare.
And I was trying to look for him and ended up having to go real deep in the field to find him. It was Martin Savassi. He actually ended up getting it turned around last lap. Innocent little spin, and he got himself pointed back in the right direction, but he fell way back in the standings from 8th all the way down to 20th.
I think we're going to have it here on the replay. Let's see what you see here, Adam. Oh, that's just the tail end of it. There he is turning it around in the dark. Try one more time. We'll go a little farther back.
The car just dives into the corner, and whoop, I'm going to start pointing the wrong direction for you.
Did a good job of backing it up, waiting for the traffic to clear, finds a spot to bring it back. Look at that. He loops it around the other way. Smart move. Nice job, Martin. And then you can merge back in.
And
Go ahead. That's not turning a bad situation, making it worse. He looped the car around the other way. Smart move. I really appreciate that, and so do all the drivers out there.
Yeah, and of course, while that was going on, after all that action on the first lap, it looks like Justin Strickland just kind of pulled it into the pit lane. So he's sitting there right now, 2 laps down. Tamlin is putting down some pretty decent lap times as well right now, going back up to the lead. So that kind of goes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, that Hamilton, if he wants to do something, he's going to have to hurry up and get back there, because right now he's running about 3.5 seconds off the lead or so. So it's I have a feeling things are going to get exciting here before the end of this thing with a lot of these fast guys coming up.
Well, Tamlin up there running 6th right now, so that means he qualified. I'm sorry, he's in the lead, but he was gridded 6th, which means he has a pretty good qualifying time originally earlier this morning. Do we have a pass for 2nd? It's Hanlon. Yeah, Hanlon just got around Fiegel. So that's the move Hanlon needs to make. Now he only has one more guy in his gun sights, and that is Scott Tamlin. So watch Zachary Hanlon work his way up to the lead. All that does is put more pressure now on Piesnik to get around Blythe. There you can see it. You're looking at Blythe out in front. Piesnik, the car in the middle, and our Heat 1 winner of Hamilton behind him. Here's the move. He dives. He makes the dive. Tries to get the McLaren, and the McLaren's going to try to do it on the outside. Blythe tries to hold on. McLaren's going to try to do the over-under now. Piesnik can't get it done. Nice job from Riley Blythe, hanging in there, making Piesnik work.
Well, of course, you got to look who's right behind Piesnik now.
One more dive from McLaren this time. This time, I think there's going to be no answer that Blythe can give back. And there goes there goes Piesnik now up into 4th. And now you got that hungry Ford behind you, Riley. He's going to want to get around too. Let's give a shout out to these drivers. A pretty good job. When you invert the grid like this, put the faster cars back in the pack, you're inviting incidents to happen. And look at, there's Riley Blythe as we watch right there. That McLaren out in front. I think these
it looked like Piesnik kind of had a bad first corner there and kind of let Riley Blythe back into the fight for a second.
These faster cars have shown great patience. And yeah, look at this now. Look at Blythe. Not giving up the ghost on Piesnik. Will not surrender. Casper there as Piesnik out in front in 4th, but Blythe right behind him, fighting hard. Hamilton trying to find a way around, but there is no room up there. He's just being patient. Of course, Piesnik and Hamilton are teammates.
Yeah, we don't need to leave this battle, but I do want to note that we were worried about whether or not Hanlon was going to catch Tamlin. Tamlin right now running in the lead, but he's been able to open up the gap on 2nd place here by about another half second. So that is not going to be a contention here for a little while.
Tamlin out in front by... Whoop! Let's go to the lead right now because Hanlon has closed the gap. He's closed the gap like David Lenderman's dentist. Now Hanlon back there in 2nd position, really making a move on Tamlin.
Ooh, I have to go back and look because I wonder if Tamlin had a problem while we were watching that battle.
I think he did. He's right there now. That Audi backfiring, not like the McLaren, but still putting out a lot of flames. And Hanlon's got that nose of that Mercedes right up behind him. A battle for the lead.
Okay, I went back and looked at it, and he really lost a lot of time. And I guess, you can kind of almost call it the rhythm section on this track, because it's one part where you really need to have a little bit of rhythm. And Tamlin just did not have it there and just lost a ton of time to Zachary. And that's why now he's on his back end. Probably right about the time I was saying we don't need to take a look at the battle.
He's there now. And you know, the lost man in this whole top 10 fight going on is the poor guy running in 3rd, Simon Fiegel. Very quietly running in 3rd, started 5th, picked up 2 positions. He's right now in between the excitement that is Tamlin and Hanlon, and then he sits all by himself. But here comes John Piesnik is trying to run up there and catch him. Blythe still holding down 5th position. Hamilton trying to find a way around that right now. So we'll watch those 2 battles. So much to watch. Hamilton trying to get around Blythe, and we got to keep an eye on Tamlin trying to hold off Hanlon. In fact, Okay, let's go back to sixth position. Here comes the Ford. Gary Hamilton makes the move. The over-under trying to fight back is Riley Blythe. Man, he is one determined driver. He will not accept the pass. Boy, he gets a little bit loose following the Ford. It's all done now, Riley. I don't think you're going to be able to come back in this one as Gary Hamilton, spiral slide, sets sail in fifth position, trying to run down John Piesnick. But great job of racing there by the car in fifth. The car in sixth. Riley Blythe, one tough driver. He still's fighting, still staying on the back of that Ford. Great pace by Blythe. Now we look back at the lead again.
Right before Tamlin had that problem, or I shouldn't even call it a problem. He just kind of had a bad section of the track. But right before that happened, he was really trying to pull away from Hamlin and was doing an okay job at it. But now that he's on his back end, Hamlin is not going to let him go here. And this is going to be a story here for a little while, I think.
If there is one guy I do not want to be just a bit faster than me and in my rearview mirror, it's Zachary Hamlin. He'll find a way around. He looks to try it on the outside. That's not going to work. If there isn't room, Zachary will try to make room. As we are down to halfway mark, just a few of the Hamlin flashing his lights. Hamlin flashing his lights at Tamlin. Not sure what that means. I think Tamlin knows he's there. And again,
kind of hard to miss right now.
And one more time, the racing gods have got to stop being cruel to the announcers as we have Tamlin and Hanlon nose to tail. That seems to have settled down a little bit. I think it's one of those, as we watch it, Adam, I think Hanlon's just sitting back there. I think flashing the lights gives a good indication of what he's trying to do. Just going to wait back there for a little while. He's in no hurry. Wait back there and see if he can get Tamlin to make a mistake.
And that's a good point, because he's already seen that he's not immune to mistakes here in the last couple of laps. That's not a bad strategy at all. Let him make something happen to his own self and let you have the easy pass around him.
And he can probably look back and realize he has the buffer that is Simon Fiegel between him and Joe Piesnick, who's making his move, trying to get around Fiegel right now. So we have a battle. Excuse me. We have a battle for the lead. We have a battle for third. A two-car battle for third. That's going to be a third-car battle, and that's John Piesnick, by the way, not Joe Piesnick. Uh-oh. Hanlon goes wide into the corner. He's going to lose a lot of momentum. Well, boy, what a great job. It's kind of, talk about diamonding the corner. That's what Hanlon did there. He didn't lose a lot of time.
Oh, got contact here. Just, you got right
Hanlon,
right in the back end of him.
Just looked like he was just really late on the brakes, or even that Tamlin was early. Watch as we ride on board with Tamlin. Here he comes. It's going to be next corner. Tighten up your safety belts, boys, because you're going to get a little bump here. Look at how far back he looks right now, Adam, and here he comes. Boom!
And then flashing his lights again immediately afterwards. So I'm going to go as probably more of Tamlin braking a little bit early as opposed to Hanlon braking late. I don't think Hanlon was very appreciative of that. And of course, while all that's going on, you still got the battle here between third, fourth, and fifth with Fiegel, Piesnick, and Hamilton. And Hamilton's, just to prove just how powerful his car is, once he was able to dispose of Blythe, he was actually about a second and a half off Peacenik, and he's been able to gain that back in only the course of about a lap and a half.
I think Hanlon's attitude in second is going to get.
Who was it that went wide there? Peacenik went wide way through the corner there. Man, that was not a good corner there, and he ended up giving up those spots.
So that puts Hamilton into fourth now, behind Fiegel. And again, the point I was trying to make is I think Hanlon can be patient until he sees one of those drivers get around Fiegel. Then Hanlon's going to want to go. You can't sit behind Hanlon too long. So Peacenik gives up that spot. Going to be Gary Spiral Slice Hamilton's job to see if he can get around Simon Fiegel. Fiegel doing a great job hanging on to that final podium position. Apologies to the drivers farther back in the field. We'll see if we can get a rundown of some of the other drivers here as soon as things sort themselves up in the top 5 or 6.
Just look at it.
Go ahead.
Just looking at that whole thing that transpired with Peacenik ultimately going wide there and losing a lot of time. Just that entire section of the track, Fiegel actually didn't have a very good section of that track either. And they lost a ton of time to first and second. This group now running between 4 and 5 seconds behind our leaders now. So if Hamilton doesn't get past Fiegel here in the next lap or so, I think he might run out of time before he has a chance to catch Tamlin and Hamlin.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Hamilton has got to make that move quick. Doing the best he can.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's doing it smartly too. He's not really pushing the issue so much. I mean, he's just trying to make sure that whatever happens cleanly, because obviously he doesn't want to trash his own car, which is pretty easy to do.
Now, in case you're wondering, if you win either one of these sprint races, either the afternoon or the night race, you are credited with a race win. It's almost as if they are 2 separate races. So Tamlin looking to get his first win of the season, as is Hanlon. So these guys are fighting for the legitimate top podium spot. It'll go on their career records as a win in the iRacing Driver Association. Think of it as a true doubleheader, much like IndyCar runs. This is a day-night doubleheader. Peacenik has caught back up to Hamilton. Now look at Hamilton trying to find a way around Fiegel, trying to see if he can make the high side work, looking for any way around Hamilton, just about out of patience now as they work their way under 10 minutes. Look at the defensive line that Fiegel takes. Not going to let Hamilton dip that forward underneath him. Put that car right in the middle of the track. Hamilton now with a great run as they go through the underpass, working their way on the back half of the track. Hamilton trying to go to the outside. That's not going to work. Now he tucks back in behind, looking for any way around, watching the whole thing with a big box of popcorn, butter flavoring all over his racing gloves is Joe Peacenik. And it's John Peacenik.
One thing to note here real quick, Hanlon and Fiegel, don't forget, they are teammates. So as much as Fiegel can hold these guys up, that allows the Hanlon to only have to worry about the one car in front of them right now, which is the leader, Tamlin.
Hanlon still trying to get around Tamlin. That interval, though, we talked about it. Adam brought it up just a few laps ago. The interval was 4.5 seconds. Now the interval from Hanlon back to Fiegel is almost 5.5 seconds. Clearly, Fiegel does not have the pace to run down the leaders. What he is trying to do, make that car as wide as a Julia Roberts smile and hold back Gary Hamilton.
I've got nothing for that one.
Fiegel running in third position. I got a million of them. Don't worry. There's more in the bag. Here he goes. Now he ducks. He's going to get this done. He's going to try to squeeze that forward in there. Oh, making a move like Rosberg in Formula One, leaving the door open for Peacenik. Peacenik says, thank you very much. I'll take that position. Hamilton just took the car in straight, and Fiegel had no way to turn left.
Yeah, you can tell that Hamilton knows the pressure is on, and he was not going to take no for an answer there.
Well, he got the pass done that he wanted. The only problem was it left the door open for the guy who was behind him. So Hamilton remains in 4th. Fiegel drops 2 spots to 5th, and Pistic says, "Thank you very much. If you guys gonna play rough like that, I'll just scoot on by." And that's what being in the popcorn position is all about. Folks, we are well aware that this is not a 5-car race, that there are other cars in here, but honestly, it's impossible for us to leave the battle to cover them right now. Maybe we'll try real quick. Adam, if you keep an eye on the leader, I think these are going to settle down. Let's see if I can go back to 6th position real quick. Riley Blythe, we saw him up in front. He's fallen back a little bit, started 3rd, down 3 positions. Dylan Shepard running in 7th right now, started in 10th, down a couple. Shane Clint Smith, we saw him starting on, or Clint Shane Smith, sorry, get that order right. New Daddy started up on the pole, dropped back to 8th position. 9th position, Jared Tyreman, a nice run from him. Oh my goodness, started 17th, up 8 spots. Nice run from Jared. Jeremiah Salty Morton, up 4 spots into 10th from 14th. Go ahead, Adam, back to you.
All right, so you got Jeremiah Morton running in 10th. Jackson Freer, who looks like he just lost a good group of spots. So now Nino Natal running in 11th. David Jellings running in 12th. Grant Hines running in 13th. Martin Savasi, of course, he had an early problem, back up to 14th. Jackson Freer ended up settling into about the 15th position. Mark Rayner in 16th. Mark Simon running in 17th. TJ Brown taking over the 18th spot from Warren Pickering. Philip Wallace, while Warren Pickering is falling back down the order. Of course, I saw him key up on the radio a minute ago and say sorry. So I'll figure out what's going on there. But also want to see what happened to Jackson Freer there. We're losing some spots.
And that's pretty much it. We look at Pickering in the pits right now. Let's go back up to the front. Tamlin still out in front, 0.4 of a second. Ahead of Hanlon, basically, what does 0.4 of a second mean? Well, it's about 2 car lengths on this track. Hanlon being very, very patient. Go ahead.
I'm looking here at what happened to Pickering, and he ended up getting off track and ended up pulling onto the track right in front of Mark Rayner. Mark Rayner, I think, was able to get away with it without too much damage, but obviously I think that's going to end Pickering's day.
Bringing up the replay right now. Good job from our director, Joe Peak. There he is on the grass. Oh, that's what we don't like. We talked about that earlier where we saw Slovasi wait and bring the car back on. This is like an example of what not to do. Again, when you make a mistake, again, to go to my second Queen Elsa reference in the same race, sometimes you just got to let it go. The car has spun. The mistake has been done. Don't make matters worse by running out of the town and building yourself an ice castle and bringing the car back into the track in front of a bunch of traffic. And then he tries to find the pit entry, and that is hard to do here in the dark. Let's go back up to the lead. Here we go. There's a hard pass.
Oh, he just moves him out of the way.
That's if there's no room, I will make room. There's a pass. Hanlon says, excuse me, using his left elbow, takes over the lead. This is classic Zachary Hanlon.
Yeah, that's the kind of muscle move that we've come to know from him.
I think there's a lot of Denny Hamlin in Zachary Hanlon there. Look at that's a NASCAR move. Not surprising. A lot of credit to Scott Tamlin when sometimes you have to know the guy you're trying to rough up.
Now, I'm going to be interested to see here if I don't think he does, but if he can have enough time to get up there, back up to Hanlon's rear bumper, are we going to see a little bit more NASCAR type action?
Yeah. A little big picture perspective here when we talk third and fourth. Peacenik and Hamilton, both teammates, and Hamilton realizes he got a late start in the season. Hamilton realizes he's really not in the championship hunt. Although, Spiral Slice, if you keep going the way you are going with drop races, I would not sell yourself short about having a run at the championship here. But what I think will happen, I would be surprised if Hamilton takes that position away from John. Peacenik, a legitimate threat for the championship. And any thoughts we thought of Tamlin getting back up to Hanlon were short-lived, as that gap now is about 4 seconds. The real question is, Tamlin lost all that time when getting elbowed out of the lead. Was the car damaged at all, and is he going to be able to stay ahead of Peacenik? Because Peacenik is a-coming. That interval, 2.7 seconds back to third from second Tamlin. With only 1 minute and 14 seconds to go, if you're going to do it, you got to get there now. You look at that battle, and I use that word battle loosely there, as I really think it's more of just a kind of team orders there. Peacenik out in front. Our leader crosses the start-finish line with 54 seconds to go. I believe he's going to see the pigment-free flag. That is white. Zachary Hanlon on the final lap now. The interval from Tamlin back to third place Peacenik is now down to 1.7. Not sure if he's going to be able to make up that time in the corners remaining. Looking through the field for somebody to give a tip of the hat for hard charging before the race is done. Maybe Nino Natal running in 11th right now, up 7 spots from 18th. But really, this race was all about, and let me say before we go to the checkered flag, how much I did enjoy the inverse grid, and another tip of the hat to the drivers for putting on a good show. It's all about Zachary Hanlon right now, looking to get his first win of the season.
Ooh, Tamlin is... something's got to be wrong with that car, because, wow, Peacenik really has gained a lot of time in the last few minutes on him.
If we don't cover this live, we'll get it on the replays. We want to always cover the leader as he crosses the start-finish line. We have a ways to go, though. We can stay in this battle for a little while. These are points that Peacenik wants. Tamlin in second. Peacenik running them down. They mind that they are teammates, though, as Adam pointed out earlier. Here comes the leader. Oh, doing a little bit of a squiggle across the line. Your winner for the night race, the iRacing Drivers Association round 2, the night race, was Zachary Hanlon. Tamlin is going to get second, just ahead of his teammate Peacenik. Let's look at those 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, second, third, and fourth for that team. Looking for a battle farther through the field. I don't think we see anything close here as they all come across the start-finish line. Tireman comes across in 9th.
And not sure if we had a little post-race drama, but Simon Fiegel decided he was going to go ahead and run into Hamilton's car there at the end. So I wonder if somebody's not happy about one of those moves.
Well, I don't know one of those moves. I think it's one move particular that he might not be happy about. But honestly, it felt like some good hard racing there. I'm going to give Zachary Hanlon, hit him hard enough to move him, not too hard to spin him. Okay, what we're going to do is the final car on the lead lap comes across. Remember, you're watching the Global Sim Racing channel, as we liked for Philip Wallace to come across. He has done that now. The final car on the lead lap, finishing 19th. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back and see what kind of driver interviews we can do here, as we have 6 podium finishers today. We'll be back in just a few for the post-race show. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the iRacing Drivers Association GT3 Series Round 8 from Motegi. Day-night doubleheader. We just wrapped up the second part of our doubleheader here under the stars, where we saw Zachary Hanlon get the win. Earlier in the afternoon heat, it was a win for Gary Hamilton in his Ford. Let's go ahead and do some interviews. We'll run down the entire grid here before we do that. Your winner today, Zachary Hanlon. Right behind him, Scott Tamlin did a great job trying to hold on to second. Hanlon moved him out of the way. Third and fourth positions went to teammates John Piesnick and Gary Hamilton. Simon Fiegel started fifth, finished fifth. Nice job from him. Riley Blythe did a great job of holding on to the top 10 position in sixth position. Dylan Shepard, Clint Shane Smith started on the pole, finished right behind Shepard in eighth spot. Jared Tyerman in ninth, rounding out the top 10, Jeremiah Salty Morton. In the lucky number 11, Nino Natal had a great run, up 7 spots into 11th. Clint Hines in 12th, hitting the Baker's Dozen position, David Jellings. 14th spot, started second, had trouble early, went back to 14th, Martin Slovasi. Jackson Freer in the 15th spot, followed by Mark Rayner. Mark Simon behind him, 18th, 19th, and 20th goes to TJ Brown, Philip Wallace, and Warren Pickering. Hitting blackjack was Justin Strickling, and the last car on the grid, newcomer Ben Darling Jr. All right, now we can go to interviews. Let's go ahead and start with the winner of the heat that you just saw, our night race winner. Excuse me, a little tick in my throat. We're going to get to talk to Zachary Hanlon. I think one of the most exciting drivers to keep an eye on during these races. Zachary, congratulations on the win in the night race.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. It's a pleasure to be here, especially up with you guys. You guys really give me a tickle when I watch these replays back. So first of all, I'd just really like to thank you guys for doing it week in, week out. Your enthusiasm for this stuff is great, and I just want to say it's a really good moment for me to be up here with you guys.
Well, it's fun when there's a series organizer that puts in the effort and gives us the information. Then when you guys put on a good show, it makes it fun for us to do it. Before we talk about the last race that you won, let's go back to the daytime race. Pretty good finish there. I think you started close to the front, were able to bring it home. What did you get, like third or fourth in that one?
Yeah, I came home fourth. So I started third and got a really good run on Hamilton up into the first corner. It kind of pressured him to hit into Joe, which was, I was kind of pretty happy with that, to be honest with you. And yeah, the race was pretty good. Kind of the front tires went off really badly, and I also, just towards the end of the race, the load cell on my brake pedal started to go a bit soft. So I kind of was missing my brake markers a little bit and wasn't really able to brake really quickly. So unfortunately, I let Tamlin passed and dropped back to fourth, but that's still a pretty decent result.
Then let's go to the nighttime race here. You had to work your way through. You started back in seventh. It didn't take you long to get through a couple cars early. Then you had your work cut out from behind that Scott Tamlin. He was not going to let you by, and you finally had to make the room that wasn't there.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, I guess. I don't really remember much at the beginning of the race. I kind of just remember chasing Scott lap after lap after lap, and that was kind of the only real opportunity he had given me other than earlier on in the race where I kind of could, have a go. So I just had to go for it, and I looked back at it and could have been done a little better. I think that if he had maybe not come over on me under the braking zone, I might not have had to go onto the grass, and maybe I wouldn't have hit him, but that's not what happened, so there's not much point in thinking about it. But Scott and I actually just met the other day, which is pretty funny, so hopefully there's not too much love lost there.
Well, just to come to your defense, as a long time doing a lot of race steward stuff and as an announcer, if that happens as soon as you get up onto the tail of them and it happens on the first lap, boy, it's kind of rude. But when you're back there for, Lord knows, for 15, 20 minutes trying to work your way around them, after a while you kind of got to expect that, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that factor, you know, once you got the minutes counting down, the price is higher, so you got to go for it.
And it's not for 10th, it's for the lead, so you got to cut yourself a little bit of slack there. Hey, let me tell you, you're one exciting driver to watch. I always keep an eye on these things. Congratulations. This is a real win. This counts as a win on your record, so congratulations for the victory.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. And just before I head off, I'd like to just thank my main sponsors, Logitech G, MPMS Racing Simulators, Joel Real Timing, and MS Limited. They've put in a lot of work and effort with us to get us where we are, and I think the results are really shining through now. And thanks to you guys again for your enthusiasm. I love it. I love watching the broadcast back, so thanks very much.
Good job. Got those sponsors in. That's what a driver needs to do. There's your winner in the night event today. That was Zachary Hanlon. Let's talk to the driver that he had to elbow his way around, and that's Scott Tamlin. Scott, you were out there in front for many minutes, had Hanlon pestering you, and finally he made room that you didn't leave him much room, and what little room you left him, he took advantage of.
Yeah, cheers. I didn't think he'd actually get past me, to be honest. I could see where he was quick and where I was slow, and I thought I had it covered, to be honest, for the race. And I put the car in there, and I saw he put his car in there, and I thought it was a bit of a buck too late, to be honest. But anyway, I got it home second in the end.
Good news is you brought it home second. How did you do in the daytime race?
I finished third. I had internet connections for a few laps, and to be honest, I think I took Simon out by mistake. I didn't realise I did it. Yeah, so apologies to Simon. I didn't realise he was there at all. He was there was nothing there, and next minute I know I was a couple places down and trying to catch back up again.
Yeah, we saw that on the broadcast, and we quickly assumed that was the incident because it looked so bizarre. Well, my goodness, 2 podium positions for you today. That's going to help you in the points and help your team.
Yeah, it is. Dynamic sim racing, yeah, definitely. I've had a few bad luck races, a few taken outs, and but anyway, it's been a good night.
Well, Scott, congratulations. I love that. Hey, let's ask you this: do you like the inversion format at the end? It's sure fun to watch. I don't know how fun it is to drive.
No, it was awesome. It was awesome. I actually didn't know what to expect, and I got a good start again. I seen the good starts and put the car in there, and a few touching and rubbing, and got the front and. Stayed out there until that instant. So, but the actual format was, it was awesome. I wish we had both races were night.
Well, congratulations. Let me go ahead and talk to our winner here of the first heat. What we did, we just talked to Scott Tamlin, second place finish in the night race, third place finish in the daytime race. Nice job, Scott. We've got Gary Spiral Slice Hamilton. Gary, nice job with that Ford, getting the win on that first race.
Yeah, g'day fellas. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a really good race. The car was absolutely amazing. The Dynamic Sim Racing Ford was just really hooked up. I got to be honest, have struggled many a time with this car. And since Phillip Island, we just sort of come across something with the set. I don't know what it was, but it's working, and I haven't really changed it even for this event where I thought it would struggle, but it was a weapon.
Nice job of being patient in the nighttime race. Had to start 9th. You worked your way through, not as quickly as some of the other cars who picked them up 3 or 4 in the early spots. You kind of this laid back, kind of picked them up one at a time. Then let's go ahead. Let's talk about the pass that you made. Who did you finally get around here? Let's see. Was it Fiegel? I think you were following Fiegel. Yeah. Made the pass there. That worked, but the only problem is you left it open for your partner.
Well, maybe that was the plan. No.
Okay.
No. So, look, we always try to avoid contact. So, a little bit disappointed. We had a little coming together, but so I saw Simon up there. Obviously, I had a very quick car, which was good. But you got to get it past done. So, Simon was defending really well. I had a look at that spot 2 laps prior, and what I noticed is that I'd go to the outside to take a normal line, and he'd just moved to the middle of the track. To be as quick as you could through there, which is what you do. So I preempted that on the lap where I made the pass, and dove to the inside. Now we were right on the inside, obviously, but I got a nose up there, but he started turning towards the apex and just no room. So when you come together, you're braking. You'll lock up and run a bit longer, and unfortunately, we both went off, and I'm sure John was appreciative.
I think he liked it. Did you have to do much setup work between the day and night race, or you run the same thing, or did you plan ahead? What do you do on that?
Well, I did a couple laps in the night only, and then tonight I did some in the day and got it sorted for that. But then when I jumped into the night session, I didn't really have anything saved, and to be honest, I ran exactly what I ran by day. and it was good. Maybe I could have got a quicker set, but I think the car was there. I just didn't quite get through that traffic fast enough.
I'll let you go on this. I know you don't consider yourself in the race for the championship because you got a late start into the season, but honestly, if you keep showing up with these results, you may find yourself on the leaders board pretty soon.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you could always keep pushing, but the points there are, in the back of my mind when I'm racing around, especially my teammates. So I'll be honest. Well, actually, John and I came together in the first turn of the first race, but that was very unintentional, and it almost came together probably about 5 times throughout the 2 races, just braking really, really late and not quite judging us. So I'm glad that we didn't hit, but that would be bad.
Well, congratulations. I'm going to try to get in 2 more interviews before we sign off. Good job on the win today, and keep it going.
Thanks, guys, and thanks again. You're doing a great job.
Okay, there we go. That was Gary Hamilton. We're going to bring in now his partner, finished 3rd here in the nighttime race in that McLaren, John Piesnik. John, congratulations on the podium here at night. Oops, wait a minute, we don't have John. Let's bring him in right now. There we go. Now we got him in. John Piesnik, you got a copy?
Certainly do.
Okay, let me take your partner out of here. There we go. Hey, congratulations on the podium here tonight. Let's go ahead and talk about the pass. We'll jump right to it. The pass that got you from 5th to 3rd in one move. That was exciting.
Yeah, it sort of it worked out pretty nicely for me, so I will certainly take that one. Yeah, I had a go at Simon, and unfortunately I made a slight error and I couldn't get it done. So it was Gary's turn, and I don't think it went the way Gary would have liked either. It got a little bit too close for comfort. But yeah, I'll take what I can get there, and it was good little points grab. So pretty happy with that, considering starting, I think it was 8th. So yeah.
Some of the announcers in the booth give you a hard time about having trouble on the track. Let's go back to the daytime race. Once again, it was kind of a classic John Piesnik type deal where he qualified good, then made a mistake and had to spend the rest of the 30 minutes trying to make it back up again.
I don't like you reminding me of that, guys, but yeah, to be honest, yeah, the car was pretty good. I'm not going to make any excuses there. I'm struggling with the 45-degree track temperatures, and yeah, like just a small error there, and yeah, had to claw my way back, but it happens. It's all good. Still a way to go in this championship, and obviously the points gap has closed a fair bit to Richard now. So there's some tracks coming now that should suit me with what's going on, and hopefully I can improve these. They'll get a little bit more consistent. The speed's definitely there. Just got to get a bit more consistent and put a bit more time into the car, and I'm sure the results will happen and should make the fight pretty good come towards the end of the season.
Well, congratulations. I thought it was a good performance today and tonight, if you want to talk about both events there. And I'll try to get my partners to take it a little easier on you in the booth.
It's all good. You can hand it out. I'll try and prove he's wrong in the next one, mate.
All right. John Piesnik, your 3rd place finisher here in the night race. One last interview to do. We're going to try to bring in the series organizer and the pole sitter in tonight's race. It was fun to see him up there in front for a little while. Didn't last long. And we're going to talk to, of course, Clint Smith. Clint, first of all, congratulations. I know you have a lot to do with organizing the series. Congratulations on a great format.
Yeah, cheers for that. I mean, he added that bit of inverted in the race too at the last minute about a week ago, and all the drivers seem to enjoy it. So perhaps we'll see it a bit more before the season's out.
It was fun. Of course, it would have been more interesting if Green Eggs would have been here, if Hampstead could have come in. It would have been nice to see him try to work his way through. But it was still pretty good to see. Boy, Gary Hamilton really has things going in your series.
Oh yeah, Gary's all of a sudden just picked up a lot of confidence. I mean, not just in our series, but even in the SEK series and things like that. Yeah, he's constantly running in the podium now, so more than likely you'll see him battling for the win against Green Eggs and Ham in the future as well.
Well, let me ask you this: Did you have the newborn baby up and awake and watching the TV so she could see Daddy up in the lead there for a while?
Nah, made sure she go to bed pretty early so she wouldn't see me spinning that first race.
Well, how did it feel the second race you ran? You held the lead for a little while, but boy, they started. They were not treating you nicely there as they started to really freight train you.
Yeah, no, I knew I had no chance at holding him at bay, but I knew I had the pace to be at least 7th or 8th, so my goal was just to pretty much finish there, so get a decent start and go from there. So I managed to keep it clean at the start when the faster guys were coming through, so that's all that matters.
2 more questions for you. Tell us about the new team. You've moved over, you've left where you were, and you're joining, is it John Piesnick now? Is that where you are?
Yes, I'm with DSR, which is Dynamic Sim Racing Motorsport. So they were kind enough to accept my
request.
My request to join the team, and obviously tonight they've gave me a perfect setup. I mean, I couldn't thank the team enough for giving me the setup they did. The car was just on rails. Unfortunately, I couldn't give them the result in the first race, but at least the second race I backed it up. So at least we saw 4 DSR cars in the top 10, which is a great result.
Don't mean to put you on the spot, but off the top of your head, do you know what's on tap for us in 2 weeks? What you have planned?
Most definitely. It's definitely one which a lot of the drivers are looking forward to, which is Imola, or Imola, as a lot of people call it. So, and that's going to be a super sprint format. So we're going to have 3 races at Imola, obviously, with only the final race counting for points. So it's going to be very interesting to see how people go around that track.
Well, congratulations on a nice performance tonight. Congratulations on an overall great series, and we look forward to being back 2 weeks. GSRC will be there. You'll be there, and hopefully we'll get Green Eggs back, see what he can do as well. Thanks a lot for putting everything together.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks GSRC and DSR for everything they do.
Thank you, Clint. There you have Clint Smith, series organizer, came in, got himself a top 10 here in the night race, finishing in 8th. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for us. Let's go ahead and do some of our thank yous here. First of all, most importantly, we'd like to thank everybody at iRacing Driver Association for organizing the series and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. We know you have a lot of choices when you fly. Thanks for flying GSRC. Thanks to the Screwed Gamers, Kart Action Media, and Zanardi Course Australia. See how I slow down the pace when we go to the sponsors? That's what they teach you in broadcasting school, for their sponsoring of this broadcast. Thanks to the companies, equipment, and software that you see on the screen right now that we use on our broadcast. Hey, the original music that you heard on today's broadcast is thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact each of them. And just a note here, Casey's got some new music out. Why don't you go and check that out? He's got a new song. Go ahead and download that digital music. It's pretty cool. Thanks to my mic mate, and that was Adam Young here today, our director Joe Peak, Dougie Beard for his camera locations. Man, it's fun to look at some of the stuff he puts out there. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, your best bet is, of course, GlobalSimRacingChannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. You heard it from Clint Smith there. The next race for the iRacing Driver Association is in 2 weeks, August 31st for round 9 from Imola, and GSRC will be there to bring you all the action. And you heard that that's going to be the super sprint format. There's a small heat, another short heat, and then the big 20-minute main event at the end. Boy, you don't want to miss any of that excitement. For details about all the upcoming events, go to GlobalSimRacingChannel.com. And now that all the housekeeping is out of the way, it's time for us to go have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.